Hello there, how's it going? I'm glad to see you've taken an interest in Dota. This game has a lot to offer, but it can be quite overwhelming for a new player, which is why I decided to make this video. It's going to give you all the essential information that you need to understand the basics of the game, and it will assume that you have zero MOBA knowledge. It won't cover everything, just the basics. So we'll start with the very obvious question of what is Dota? So to put it simply, it's a 5v5 team-based strategy game, with each team having 5 heroes that are individually picked from a wide pool of characters. The goal of the game being to destroy the enemy's ancient. It's as simple as that. Of course, in reality, it's not simple at all, but I'll explain things one by one, starting with the fountain. This is where you and your team will spawn at the start of the game, with your own personal couriers, who are little pets that deliver your items to you from your base. This is also where you respawn when you die, which will happen a lot. This place also gives you access to a healing aura and the item shop, and will also be where your couriers respawn when they inevitably get chopped in half. Next, we'll talk about your HUD. Here, you'll see your hero's current level, abilities, health and mana bars, inventory, and a few other stats. In one corner of your HUD will be your minimap, and the other will be your shop, current gold, and courier controls. Each hero in Dota has a minimum of 3 basic abilities and 1 ultimate ability, which can only be skilled after level 6. Every hero also has an inventory, which is used to hold items you purchase to make your hero do all sorts of things. Under your inventory would be your backpack. These are 3 inventory slots that are inactive, meaning items there will not give you any benefits. You'll also see the Town Portal Scroll slot, aka the TP. This item lets you teleport to any allied structure and is very important to use, so don't forget to use it. Another very important thing is hotkeys, which everything I just mentioned relies on. Using hotkeys is a very crucial habit to get into as a new player. It might be a little hard at first, but it will significantly improve the enjoyment of the game when you get the hang of it. Next, we'll briefly talk about the shop. You can open your shop by clicking on your gold, or pressing F4. Your shop is most likely going to look like this as a new player, so I highly recommend you just click this button on the top right to change it to the normal shop. This is incredibly overwhelming and has way too much information for a new player, so honestly, just buy whatever is on this side and don't think too much about the items. You can learn them later on and they are crucial, but for now there is a lot of other things for you to learn. On the other hand, we have the minimap, which we'll get a bit detailed on because it's very crucial for you to understand the game. The Dota 2 map is split into multiple different parts that I'm going to explain very briefly. First, we have the 3 different lanes, top, bottom, and mid. Top and bottom will both be 2v2 lanes with 1 core and 1 support, and mid will be the lane for incredibly cool people to 1v1 and have their little ego battles. In the beginning of each lane will be a spawn for lane creeps, which are small, friendly minions. Every 30 seconds, these creeps will rush down their respective lanes and run straight to engage the enemy creeps. Your job is to accompany your creeps in whichever lane you choose to go to, and while they're going to die and be meat shields, what you're going to do is that you're going to exploit that for financial gains, which might sound unethical, but it's pretty ethical, don't worry about it. When opposing lane creeps die in your vicinity, you gain experience, which allows you to gain levels, which give you skill points, so you can upgrade your abilities. And if you land the killing blow on a creep, which is commonly referred to as a last hit, you gain gold. If you feel like being a traitor, you can also deny your own lane creeps if they fall below 50% HP. This makes the enemy heroes lose a portion of the XP, and denies them the ability to get the last hit. You can consider these creeps your first line of defense, and it's good to try and be behind them in most cases. Your next line of defense would be the towers. Each lane will have 3 towers, referred to as Tier 1, Tier 2, and 3, based on how close they are to the Ancient. The Ancient itself is protected by 2 towers, called Tier 4 towers. Towers are defensive structures, and should usually be a safe position for you in the early state of the game. Killing the enemy's towers can be a goal in laning, but it's important to have realistic ambitions and not get ahead of yourself, as towers are quite strong in the early stage of the game. Now, in between the lanes, there are areas called the jungle. These areas house neutral camps, which you can see on the minimap as the yellow dots, and as the name suggests, you'll find neutral creeps here that are just minding their own business. Unfortunately for them, you're a raging psychopath and you love money. So killing these neutral creeps will be a common occurrence as they are a reliable source of gold and experience throughout the game. Anyway, there are many other things going on in the map, but this is already an information overload and I'm assuming your non-Dota player brain is already fried, so you'll discover the rest of the stuff on your own when the time comes. Okay, that was a lot of information, but we're still not done. We're never going to be done actually. Learning Dota is a lifelong journey that just never ever ends. You'll always learn something new, which is what's really beautiful about it. Fortunately though, this video won't last a lifetime, so we're just going to briefly talk about a few more things, starting with heroes and roles. After we're done with that, you'll be ready to go play Dota and have a lot of fun and be happy. Realistically though, you're going to be very miserable for a while, but you'll be happy when you learn the game a bit better, I promise. So, as mentioned before, each lane will have one core and one support, but what's the difference between cores and supports? Well, the support will be focused on denying and harassing, which is attacking enemy heroes, and providing a good space for his core to be able to farm. Farming is landing last hits on creeps to gain gold, so you can view supports as babysitters and cores as babies that need to be taken care of. Mid laners, on the other hand, are quite lonely. The only friend that they have are the power runes that spawn in the river every few minutes, which give them a few different kinds of buffs. Next, cores will be split into 3 different types. Carries, who will play in the safe lane, that being bottom if you're on the Radiant side, which is the green side, and top if you're Dire. And offlaners, who will play in the off lane, opposite of the safe lane. Carries will be heroes that are generally weak early on and get stronger as the game goes on and focus on farming creeps. Offlaners will be a bit stronger, tankier, and focus more on initiation and early to mid-game fighting, with a bit of farming too. Lastly, mid laners can be considered a mix of both of these playstyles. That's really all you need to know for the basics. The last piece of advice I'll leave you with that is probably the most important takeaway from this video is that to learn Dota, you need to master the ability of reading. As a new player, you'll be dead very often, which is a blessing in disguise. Read everything. Read what your abilities do. Click on enemies and see what their abilities do. When you see something weird, hover it and see if it has any text you can read. Check the in-game tutorials. Read everything and just try your best to power through the initial struggle. The game gets fun very quickly, and with the right mindset, it'll be a blast. But maybe don't read the chat if someone on your team is getting a little heated. That's something probably not worth reading. Unless you're into being called a wide variety of horrible things, which I won't judge you for, I mean, go for it. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful, fun, and helped you in your journey into enjoying Dota. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them below, and if you're interested in personalized coaching, then my Discord will also be in the description. Good luck, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.